Welcome back to another video of Extreme Stories. We're back once again with another awesome and amazing video as we bring back more awesome this summer with more of these awesome stories. And today's story is going to go back and reflect on something I talked about in the last previous episodes. And it has to do with the worst coach ever. As you know, if you do remember this guy, you know I talked about him in the last two episodes that you see on the left right here. Yep. This time we're going to be doing the part 3 on this guy. And this is actually going to be reflect on the last half of the season. About how much this guy triggered me during the last half of the track season. More specifically, just April in general. Because that's actually when the track season ended. Now moving on to the track season of the outdoors, 2018. So the outdoor season began just in the beginning of April, and the coach was basically at his worst, like literally exploding with anger. That's how bad he was, and by the time April started, he meant business, not just business, but he really wanted us to be winning. And I, of course, was in the long distance group, unfortunately, because he then said that if you're in a long distance group, you would have to do 4 events in the outdoor season. And that right there was just outrageous. This was just bullcrap for having to do 4 events, because to me it's kind of impossible to do all these events, but the coach made it clear saying that if you are in a long distance group, you have to be doing this. And if anyone were to rebel against him, then you'd be kicked out of the event. Not just that event, but all the events. So you can tell he was not playing around when it comes to stuff like this. And not too long after, the first meet came up. But however, on the day before, they predicted a chance of snow, apparently. And so the meet was canceled. But however, when the day came around, it was actually 50 degrees for a high. So I guess the forecast just, goofed with us to save us or to save our butts. But still, on that day, we ended up having to do something called a pre-meet. And the coach forced us to do lots of events. Like, he wanted people doing multiple events at a time, which was pretty, ballistic, because no one wanted to blow themselves out within the first 2 hours. But he still made us do it anyway. Me, myself, I got put into the mile, and I did pretty good in it, but still, I didn't feel quite good doing it, because, it just didn't feel right. The next event we did was the 4x800, and again, I'm going to tell you this straight, I hate that event so much, because I have to run so fast and so quickly, but it's just so, I'm just not me. But in that event, we had 3 people, and one of people was the slowest runners on the team, but we didn't care. But I guess some people from our team thought it was funny to laugh at our team, because when our team guy was running, they just laughed at our team. And that right there was just idiotic, because we were working the best we can, but the other team just wants to laugh at us because they think we're going to lose in a huge meet. I mean, we're trying our best. It doesn't mean you can laugh at people. It's just annoying. Then next week, our first meet actually came, and we were put on, I guess, separate buses, because there was a varsity and a junior varsity team. So the varsity team, that bus ended up being packed because there were a lot of varsity people running. So that was a good thing they didn't get put on that bus. But the junior varsity bus didn't have that much people on it. It was just like barely like 20 people on it. So we had more leg room, more space, we had more everything. So it was pretty fun being in that bus compared to the varsity bus where there's lots of people on it. So I agree. We actually had a fun time on the bus, just chillaxing and waiting for the meet to actually start. But still, we did not get away with anything, because the coach actually came onto the bus to scold us about how we should attempt to enter the meet. Like, he's already done enough. He doesn't have to come to the bus and tell us more stupidity stuff to us. But he went ahead and tell us that as soon as we got on the field, the only thing he wanted out of us was for all of us to win. Like, to win every single one of our events. So again, he's talking trophy talk. Yeah, trophy talk all over again. That's what he's doing. The same old thing I'm mentioning, and he's been doing it all over through the entire season. And you see, Well, it comes to now, the trophy talk. And another thing he told us to do was to always be cheering for our teammates. So no matter if you were tired or if you just didn't feel like doing stuff, you still had to be. You still was forced to stand up for your team and to cheer for them. Another quite dumb idea because I didn't feel quite comfortable in the team because since I already hated the coach, I didn't want to stand up for the team. I just couldn't do it. And that's not the dumb. That's not even the dumb part yet. The dumbest thing this coach had us do was to go to the front of the pack whenever a race started. Like one time he told us all to go to not stay in the back, but to always stay in the front, like to race to the front in the first lap. And that idea we already knew was stupid because the one time, the one time we tried that, we failed miserably. I mean, but just by following the coach, we just made ourselves look stupid because we went from first to like I don't know, like 100th place or 20th place. That's where you were after doing that thing once. I mean, even I felt embarrassed doing that because all that did was just embarrass me. And even the coach said that he knew what he was doing and that he was one of the best coaches ever for for having the schedule. Oh, coach, you are very wrong about that because you don't know how to do your job because you already seen the horrible things he's done. So clearly he doesn't know how to do his job. I mean, most of the people in the team have no clue what goes on in this coach's mind because whatever does go on in his mind is just something stupid. Like what's he like something we just come up and say, oh, I want to put this guy in this event or I want to put this guy in this event. He just does stuff at random. And pretty soon we started to notice a split in the team. Like the people who hated him, that grew larger. So for people who used to be on the side, they just moved on to the other side, and we all started hating him. But the ones who are loyal to him, they pretty much just stayed there. They didn't want to leave. So I do feel bad for people who happen to like the coach, but me myself, and those other people, we hate him. We totally hate him. And this went on for game after game after game until the very end of the season, which happened to be on my 17th birthday. And on that day, we had our last track meet. And on that day, luckily, the coach decided not to come to our meet because it was mainly a junior varsity meet, and he didn't bother wanting to come to the junior varsity meet. So they made it for a good cause because we didn't have to deal with any of the coach's nonsense. So we all as junior varsity people had a lucky day away from the coach because the coach again was not there. So with the other coaches around, we pretty much had some fun. And during the last track meet, I can say this is probably one of the best track meets ever. I'm not saying it's a good finish, but I'm just gonna say that this is probably one of the best track meets ever because in both events that I ran in, the mile and 800, I think, I did pretty good as in the standing. I ended up, getting some pretty good places in the events. I was pretty happy with it because I didn't expect this to happen, but at least I got something out of my season, like something good for once out of my season, besides the coach. But that was, by far one of the best track meets I ever had. And right after that meet, on the bus, I was thinking of all the time I wasted in this death trap. I mean, really, I wasted 6 whole months there. 6 months were wasted at this awful track. 6 months of running that track really took a lot out of me. And all I can say is that all that trash is now, gone to waste. All those months, gone to waste. If I had just stopped on the first day, I probably would have been in a good condition right now. But no, I ended up having to deal. I ended up having to stay for 6 months with this coach. I mean, it's just awful how the season went. But still, at least I got something good out of it. That's the only thing I can keep in my mind. At least have had a good birthday. That's all I can say. And also, you guys are probably still wondering about that person mentioned in the last video, the one about the Who's That Kid from that part 2 that I mentioned in part 2. Well, if you're wondering who he is, I'll be telling you about him in part 4, about who this guy really is. And you guys will be surprised when I bring everything all together in part 4. And that's it for today's awesome and amazing video. If you enjoyed today's awesome and amazing video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to always get updated new videos from this awesome and amazing channel. And I'll see you guys in our video next time. But seriously, we need some more fan art. Bring in some fan art so I can show your awesome game skills. See you guys in another awesome video again.